So we're knocking on the door of 2022 now, and I hope 2021's treated you okay. If so, you can use it as a springboard, can't you, going into next year? If not, get a new start. Throw away aspects of what you've been doing or not doing, and make a whole new start of it. So I do wish you all the best. In terms of making predictions, I'm on a hiding to nothing really, aren't I? Weather folk people and political pollsters and things like that not having a great amount of success, are they, in recent history? And there's that small matter of the global pandemic, hasn't there? Which not many people saw coming. So must be mad, really. But I wanted to make some, give my thoughts, make some predictions, mostly positive ones, as is my bias to look at things from a positive point of view. Keep an attitude of gratitude, and hopefully that will kind of pay dividends for me and for you going forward. But to start off with, I guess, a mixed message on that one. We're in boom time, economy-wise now. Kind of recruiters are working flat out. We've got a record kind of vacancy rate, as we speak. That can't continue forever. In one sense, the economy's overheating. There's some inflation creeping in, isn't there? And that's partly, fueled by wage rises, which, can be a obviously positive thing in terms of, personal finance and, consumer spending into the economy, which is an inward investment. But also that, we're getting inflation in terms of cost of materials, and we've got supply chain problems as suppliers struggle to keep up with the reopening of markets and the heating up of global economies. So things are going to soften by the sounds of the commentators, in next year, sure, make hay while the sun shines, but there's clouds on the horizon. We're encouraging people to exercise a certain amount of caution in terms of, perhaps don't take on, a crazy amount of people, like too much overheads and things like that, because the situation is dynamic, and there may be a bit of an adjustment next year. Let's see. Forewarned is forearmed. Next part, in terms of inward investment, that seems to be accelerating, partly as a propping up the economy, and partly as a long-term investment point of view. So I've seen kind of large acquisitions and investments into the construction industry, engineering, energy, defence. So that's all great, and will hopefully underpin that kind of high wage, high productivity, technical employment and market and economy that the politicians are certainly aiming for. Next one is it seems to be a change and acceleration, rightly so, in terms of climate change and commitments on that. Obviously, we've hosted COP26 this year. Been some certain amount of commitments made there. There's obviously the other side of the coin that it's too little, too late. But what's the other option really? We're doing damage limitation, so let's do just that and limit the damage that we're doing, and hopefully the planet, which is resilient, can kind of heal, and we'll take more care in future, and that there can be kind of a renewal from that point of view. There's more thoughts and more emphasis on company purpose, culture, yes, reputation, but ethics as well, visibly shown by employer brand, but hopefully it's deeper than that as well, and not just kind of virtue signaling, and buyers seem to be much more interested about partnering with, buying from companies that have good or congruent ethics with with their customers, definitely encourage people to keep that in mind. So when they're choosing their employers, choosing their suppliers and things like that. International focus has been probably increased, post-Brexit environment for us as well. So new markets, new trade deals, international partners, things like that. That's all good. We're keeping an eye on hopefully maximising opportunities with these emerging economies. The mint economies have been much talked about. So I think that's Malaysia, India, Nigeria, and Thailand. As big up and comers. It used to be kind of the BRIC economies, isn't it? Brazil, Russia, India, China, which didn't turn out quite as the experts as predicted. But let's see what happens this time. Almost in parallel and to a certain extent in tension with the internationalisation, we've also got a little bit of a self-sufficiency kind of agenda and renewal. So we're looking for food security, energy security, cyber security, and just to have that control in terms of British supply and campaigns to buy British and things like that, and within reason, that's been really positive and patriotic to see as well. I think as people have reflected during and post pandemic on their life choices and work-life balance and things like that, and how we're spending our time and money, there's been greater focus on families and family units, which is great. I'm seeing and I predict education change, perhaps a switch away from that kind of traditional university kind of setup and model. I think there'll be an increase in vocational qualifications, apprenticeships, more employer training and partnerships, so that people can access that kind of flexible, short-term, kind of more relevant, more practical training, in conjunction with traditional education providers and institutions as well. Next thing, kind of bigger picture kind of issue and prediction, though, in that there'll be global mass migration, increasingly, obviously. So the UK and international policy, it's like, what are we going to be able to do about that? If you're a love your neighbour type person, who's the neighbour? It's not really the guy next door. It's it's our global neighbours. It's our fellow human beings. So it's politics, it's war, it's climate change. It's all going to kind of fuel this potential for mass migration. So watch this space on this one. Kind of finishing up on a positive, I sense that there's going to be breakthroughs. There's increased appetite for solving these big issues and things like that. There's been some notable incentives, hasn't there, like the Moonshot Prize and things like that, supported by the Royals. Billionaires are kind of putting their brains and their assets into potentially coming up with solutions to big and sometimes long held problems and issues. So it'd be really interesting to see what the brightest and the best of us can come up with in terms of improvements for all, in many different kind of science, technology, and other spheres next year and beyond. So I do kind of wish you all the best with your your individual and family and corporate plans for 2022. Do keep me posted on how things are going, and with love and respect, I wish you all the best. Cheers.